resolution to place a notice for a public hearing for local law number 1. This has to do with changing the date for the meeting of the Board of Assessment Review. So this was brought to our attention today. And this has to do with just a conflict of dates with our new assessor. And I don't have the date with the, so pursuant of the authority grant by section 512 of the property tax law, the town of Johnsburg provides that the from and after effective date of this local law, the Board of Assessment shall meet to hear the company's complaint in relations to assessments. And Jean, do you have it the Wednesday? Because I don't have that written down on mine.
May 27th.
Wednesday, May 27th.
Yes, Wednesday, May 27th. Yes, thank you.
At 4 p.m. and 8 p.m.
So it's just for this new term, and it has to be done now because, again, of the timing of getting things into the newspaper. So Jean, thank you very much for getting this together so quickly on such short notice. So can I get a motion to bring this to the floor?
Moved.
I'll second.
And do we have any questions about this?
No, pretty straightforward.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Fourth Wednesday, May 27th.
The grievance for the bar is going to be May 27th.
May 27th.
May 27th, yep.
All right.
With each assessor, they have their own dates that they're in a specific area. So for Letitia's, hers was Tuesdays, I believe. Right, so unfortunately, David has conflicts with his other towns. So he brought this to my attention this afternoon to see if we could get it taken care of. Yep.
All right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So now we have warrants. If I can have a motion to approve the warrants?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right, do we have any discussion or questions about the warrants? None? All right, can I have a motion to approve the warrants? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.
Aye.
All right, and now we will hear committee reports.
Not much going on. We'll be getting going here hopefully again fairly shortly with the regular committees. Hopefully we will actually reestablish the solid waste committee. The EMS fire advisory committees that's something we plan on going forward with. They've been productive. They're somewhat necessary. It seems a bit foolhardy not to have them. So I strongly encouraging that we go back forward to maybe not the exact committees, but similar working committees that we had before.
Yes, I would think, especially after with the contracts with the fire companies, it would be nice to have some sort of liaison. That would be a good idea. With childcare, we are still collecting info via an online and paper survey. We have copies up here of a brochure where you can do the survey online. The Occupancy Tax Committee met last week. We have notes available up here as well. Some of the things that we discussed were considering doing 2 rolling admission periods, one in April and one in November, with a workshop ahead of each admission period. The spring one would potentially be March 31st, just before April opens. We talked about highlighting and actively seeking applications in areas that feel underserved, such as in food, events, potentially music. In reviewing the rubric, we agreed that the biggest focus should really be on tourism impact, whether an applicant is for-profit or nonprofit, on public versus private property feels really less important than the overall benefit for tourism. And we also discussed that applications with strong potential, but that weren't fully realized, could be resubmitted if the full committee agrees and the applicant is open to feedback. And we talked also about if there were larger, bigger, grand ideas, we could talk about breaking them into smaller, digestible phases, thinking in terms of maybe a 5-year plan to build capacity to make bigger projects more achievable, building off what was done for the last couple of years and thinking about how we could thoughtfully grant the money that we have to the applicants that come in this year. For the Comprehensive Plan Action Committee, Our next meeting is going to be February 11th. We are meeting with the Parks Committee, 3:30 PM at the Tannery Pond Center. We are meeting with Ethan Gaddy from the county, who is going to be coming to discuss the grant that we received from the county that is the Phase 2 of the Mountains to River grant that we got, that's going to be talking about connecting the ski bowl to the riverfront park. As with all of our meetings, these are open to the public, so that is 3:30 at the Tannery Pond Center. And I should also say that the occupancy tax meeting, our next one is February 25th at 6 PM at the Tannery Pond Center as well.
So the senior citizen committee met today, this morning, and it was a very good meeting. We handled a couple different things. We are doing a newsletter. Every single month, there is a newsletter for the seniors going into the Johnsburg Jottings, and that's been really well received. And we would remind everyone that if you're not signed up directly with the school to get that, either by mail or email, please do so. We're putting the information in there of what's happening over at the Senior Citizen Center, the meal site. We have activities going on over there. They've been really well received. Kate Hartley is doing a painting class. She did one in November, December, and January. And enrollment went up from about 10 people, 8 to 10 people, to 19 in January. So really well received, a lot of people participating. The chair yoga is going really well with Rodella. She's got about 8 to 10 people every time. And so spread the word, because it's free. Everybody can go there and use it for free. Everybody's 60 and older, so if you're not out skiing, get over there and do some chair yoga. It's actually a lot of stretching and different things too, so it is pretty good thing. Let me just take a look. Oh, the other thing that we're doing with the newsletter, we're sending a hard copy newsletter that's going to be mailed out this next month, and that will include a resource list of some of the area assistance programs that are available currently through New York State. So we're really partnering with the Office of the Aging as well as North Country Ministries in collecting a bunch of that data so that we can connect people with resources and have a little more, schedule some educational seminars and workshops as well there. The senior exemption that was voted in December, passed in December. We've had at least 4 new applicants through the town, so that's good, but they are due by March 1st. So if you know anybody who perhaps used to be under that income cap, and was not eligible prior, please let them know to check that, and there are applications at the town hall. The next meeting we are always meeting on Wednesdays, the first Wednesday of the month, at 11 a.m. at Tannery Pond, and it is open to the public. And if anybody would like some recap notes, please just reach out to me. I'm happy to send them to you so that you know what we're doing and what our agenda looks like. First meeting of our Economic Development and Marketing Committee will be held on February 11th, and that is at, I think, 2:30, so just prior to the other meeting. We'll be meeting at 2:30 here at Tannery Pond Center as well. That's it.
All right, thank you. They are on the website right now. So if you go to the standing committee page, the members are listed, the email addresses of the chairs are listed, and the dates are listed. All right, thank you. So now we will hear from anybody who would like to come up from privileges of the floor. We ask that you come up here and please state your name.
I haven't come up here much in the last year, but I just want to say just after New Year's, I had a really nice thank you note from Joe Conley. I sent in my annual contribution for the EMS squad because I thought that's a good thing to do here. We all need that squad. Little did I know, a week later, I needed it. And I just want to say, from my now personal experience, what a great group of people we have in that squad. I'll start with Joe. Joe Conley came to the bar where I was, and about 5 minutes he got there. And, maybe 10 more minutes. I had the wagon came with Michelle San Antonio. I had never met her. Oh my God, what a pro! And so she was with me on the whole ride to Glens Falls. She had the hospital prepared, had me into ICU. Or they already knew what they had to do, and she could leave and go take care of somebody else. But it was one heck of a great experience to watch, even though I was on the wrong end of it. So my heart goes out to all of those people who serve in that EMS group. They're just great. So thank you.
My name's Beth Marr, and I just want to say in the search for a new supervisor that whoever that person is, I'm just hopeful that the community can accept them and give them a break. It seems like it's been like a fight. And it just doesn't need to be at this level. We just, this is where we live. We're just trying to make it better. For instance, and then I'm going to step away, I don't want to put Pete on the spot, but Pete served in a role here and was willing to be supervisor, I believe, at one point. And he comes to the town with a previous experience that was like a gold mine. And yet we weren't able to accept that because maybe, I don't know why. But anyway, my hope is that whoever steps into the role can be given a break by us townspeople.
Bruce Ashline. I was just wondering, will we get the complete list of the letters of interest and have maybe through the privilege of the floor or something, a little time to express opinions before you guys vote?
I would have no problem with that. I mean, one,
Glenn, can you answer that for us? I don't know.
Sure. It sounds like you have to decide, the board can decide what to make public and what not to make public. If you decide to make information available, I would recommend that you let the applicants know, and perhaps there could be a version that they might be comfortable with. But typically, when somebody is hired, then, subsequent to their hiring, certain information becomes available, not before. And that's to preserve the personal privacy of the folks who are applying. But if you were to make that part of the process, or to ask them, to what extent they would be willing to have that information shared, that might be the way to do that. But it's kind of rare. Actually, it's not kind of rare. It's extremely rare that would take place. It's not an election. Only the board has the power to do this, of course. And in fact, the board is not allowed to ask for a advisory vote of the public. That would be improper, and also an expenditure that would not be appropriate. So we wouldn't recommend doing that. But however, you might know from your school board's experiences that when a school board narrows down a field of candidates for school superintendent, for example, they will often invite two of those candidates to come in and have meetings with the school and even the community. And so there is a model for that, but it's done with full involvement and full understanding of the applicants. So you would never want to throw an applicant a surprise that way. You'd want all the process.
Take that under advisement.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm Bob Nessel. Kelly's always on my tail about mentioning how long I've been around. And that's not just in Johnsburg, that's period. But there's nothing wrong with knowing the history of where you are, where you're living, and the government that you're subjected to. So in the name of, as a result of watching and participating in town government since about 1965, I think this is an ideal time to pick up again something that I mentioned when the town board was meeting in the Oddfellows Hall, which I think is Knoxon Hall now, down in Weavertown. And I'm not sure, I think possibly Bill Montfort might have been the supervisor at that time, but anybody know Bill Montfort? Remember Bill Montfort?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. Well, once again, it's the older guys that know that. Paul also. And at that time, I made I made the first time that I had ever heard it mentioned at a town board meeting that the town should consider time limits for elected officials. And that's all elected officials. And now I'm bringing that back again, and this is an ideal time to bring that up. And I would strongly urge the board. Unfortunately, we only have 3 board members tonight, and I hope maybe we could communicate with Matt and take some time to generate a new process where of appointments and elections have time limits. The older people or maybe not the older people looking at the town board, maybe that's too many older people down there. But we just we didn't lose, but our friend Arnold Stevens stepped off the board. And he'd been on the board for, I think, 40 years. And a couple of years before that or so, Gene Arsenal stepped off of the board. And he too had been on the town board for 40 years. Or, that's about 10, well, back in their early tenure on the board, they were 2-year periods. But now for the last, maybe, probably another 20 years back, it got changed over to at least the councilors went to a 4-year period of election. So I am urging, before you make an appointment or in the process of making the appointment, that you can seriously consider, if not or consider, I would like it to consider it to the point where you develop a law, a new process for how town officials are going to be elected, how long they're going to be in office, and and then move on with regular regular jobs or regular time of it'll just be that if you're, and I am suggesting that a counselor could run for 3 terms. That would put a counselor on the town board if they were successful for 12 years. And in 12 years, in the way life is moving along in the world right now, in 12 years, there's an awful lot of things that can happen. And with computers and all of that sort of stuff, things, it just goes faster and faster. Supervisors, the first supervisor that I had to deal with, he actually was elected, or he was an appointment to the board in 1963, and I showed up here in 1964, and he was supervisor for the next 30 years or so. And there's an awful lot of things that never got looked at. And there are still problems in the town right now that need work. And we've got a couple new people on the board here, and I certainly hope that you take on some of these projects that have been, we've all known about them for years, but nothing's happened. So that's a big job. I would definitely, if I hear or sense some comments from the counselors out of meeting that this would be interesting, I would definitely volunteer my services to do research on how this could work. And I have a sense that it's legal in New York state law. It better be. And so Kelly will surely work with me. And so we'll be sure the spelling and the grammar will be perfect. So I am dead serious about this. And so be prepared for telephone calls, and I will try to keep myself under control. Thank you.
I will try to keep this under 3 minutes. I have a concern, and I know that you all know, my name's Kelly Nessel, for those of you who don't know me. I have a concern about our looking forward at Skibo Park and the mine closure. And I know that we have worked out, Peter Olszewski and Jim Williams and I and Fred was involved in the decisions where the PPP was taking over the concept of the closing of the mine. They met with a mining specialist. They know what they have to do. There was money set aside for year 1 and year 2. And Peter, I am sure, although I haven't had a chance to talk with Pete lately, but I'm sure he's been on top of it. My concern is related to what comes after that. And as you all know, you don't build a house without a plan. Now, we had a master plan done for the park that you've heard about that needs inspection and changes and discussion, et cetera, as each project comes up. I think that most people would agree that if we're going to build park venues or playgrounds or ball fields or whatever, that you have to have a level piece of ground that's ready for that. And that is, of course, the first step. And this is what Peter is going to be doing or overseeing, is the, what I call the rough grade of the sand mine. And then after that, we have to have more work done that will be ready, make it ready for the park venues. Okay, so that needs money. And that means we have to go for grants. In order to get grants, you have to have a fairly reasonably based estimate of your costs. And you can't do that without the planning. Oh, you can take a figure and then put on another 500,000 on top of it just to be sure you're okay. I'm sure you, and that's what these like LA Group, the landscape architectures do. They send you in figures that are just, whoa, sky high. But if you really want something reasonable that you can put in a grant that's going to make sense, you need to have some plans. That is why in November 23, before the last set of people came in, they had set aside $100,000 for planning, to be ready, to be prepared, to use it for grant money. You frequently, depending on the grant, but you frequently get the money reimbursed, okay, from your planning, if it's done within 3 years of getting the grant award. So all I'm asking for the town board is, I know you have a huge bunch of stuff to deal with right now, but when you can, to sit down and say, how can we obtain the money we would need to do the plans for this final grading and a road into the park? That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see you find some of that money. I know there's reserve money. Maybe you can borrow from it and pay it back later. Anyway, Danae can help you there. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to come up for privilege of the floor? No? All right, then I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the meeting is closed.